Welcome to Dental Business RX. Practice success in 30 minutes or less.
Thank you for calling ABC Dental.
Let's talk about something we all sort of know from lived experience. For that matter, you'd have to be living under a rock for the past 6 years to not have noticed that staffing your practice, or any business for that matter, seems more complicated and expensive than it did in, say, 2019. And to that end, it may also seem that building and managing a team seems harder than it used to be. I mean, think about it. Does it feel like expectations are fuzzier, standards are harder to hold, and what used to work just doesn't anymore? Now, if your practice is fully staffed, turnover is low, and your team is dialed in, great, and a very well done to you. Seriously, you're ahead of the curve. But if you're like the vast majority of your colleagues where staffing in one form or another is an issue, this episode is for you. Because here's the truth. This is not necessarily a you problem, and it's not a bad employee problem. I mean, it could be. But for the most part, if it didn't used to be a big problem and now it is, there's a few things to know. The labor environment has changed over the past 6 years. The workforce, to one degree or another, has changed. And most practice owners and office managers were never prepared for this version of reality. What used to be common sense in staffing now might get pushback. What used to be expected now has to be negotiated. And many owners are stuck trying to run a modern practice with rules that quietly stopped working years ago. And that's the why for this week's episode. My name is Jeff Blumberg, and I'm your host. And for this week's episode, we're going to take a deep dive on the new rules of dental staffing as they've evolved over the past 6 years. Specifically, I want to examine what's actually happening inside dental practices and what owners and managers must adapt to, actions to take, along with what it takes to be successful in this current environment. Now, to help you with this, I'm joined by Ashley Fugel. If you're a longtime listener, you'll know Ashley from several previous episodes, all on the subject of personnel. Ashley's our VP Administration here at MGE, sort of our resident HR expert. I should qualify those. She's not an employment or labor attorney. This is important. You should have access to one of those. So nothing we're saying is legal advice, all the normal disclaimers. Ashley's been with the company for 20 years this year, and she's just awesome at this stuff. In addition to overseeing MGE's personnel area, she's also worked with hundreds of our clients on all issues regarding staff. So, Ashley, you're all connected over there. I mean, I know you're connected because,
yes.
Yeah. All right, fine. I'm used to saying that. I said I wasn't going to anymore, but I did. Anyway, so welcome to the show. It's been a while.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I know we talk here with regards to personnel. We've talked about various issues with clients, especially newer clients, right? So we have a series of questions, which, full disclosure, she has seen. And I didn't want it's not like a surprise media interview.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, like a pop-up interview when you come out somewhere. Ms. Fugel. All right, so let's just kick off with this. So when you look at hiring and onboarding today, even staff training today, versus a few years ago, what's fundamentally different?
So I think it's two things, and I'll take them apart. Hiring, I think the biggest thing I see that's different with hiring is cost. And I know everyone keeps saying that cost is up everywhere, but the effect that it's created sort of as a domino effect, like it first started out, okay, cool, it's more expensive to hire a front desk or a DA or a hygienist. And our clients adapted a bit and they spent more on those employees. But the domino effect we're now seeing where other employees are expecting to make more.
Sure.
Your longer term employees, they're like, oh, well, you're hiring, they see your ads. Well, now you're hiring a dental assistant.
You've seen that happen?
Yeah.
You're hiring a dental assistant for $25 an hour and I'm only getting 23.
Right. Or 20, because I've been there a long time. And that worked in 2019, 2018. And so
well,
now
back then they were hiring for the same price,
right,
weren't they? Yeah.
Right. So now they're like, okay, cool. Well, I want more money, or I'm going to go to the guy down the street because he's going to hire me more, for more. So the domino effect is a big thing that's affecting our clients. And the way, I'll probably digress a little here, but the way that I see them handling that or responding to that is harming their business a lot because they'll lose a staff and then they don't replace them because they decide they can't afford it, or they try and replace them with artificial intelligence.
Have we seen that yet?
Yeah.
Where
The
someone's
front
trying
desk,
to use.
they're trying to replace that. This is the biggest thing I'm seeing. I'll call an office, or we get new clients. Our sales guys upstairs do the mystery calls, and a machine answers the phone in the middle of the day. Like, they're trying to replace, because that's an entry level post, right? Position. Like, they think my front desk is entry level, and okay, well, I can replace it with a machine that can take the basic, questions and then give it to one of my employees who has a little bit of time to stop doing whatever they're doing to answer the phone. And that's a response I see people making that's really harming their business, right? I know that you've instructed our clients, I've instructed our clients that your receptionist is gold. That is the entry point into your business. You spend all this money on marketing, no one answers the phone. A machine answers the phone. Thank you for calling, wherever, whatever.
Right.
I'm hanging up. I don't know about you. If you're a new patient, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. Who's the next Google listing? That's
well, especially
me.
if unless I'm a referral.
Right.
Or my wife goes to this doctor, I'm not going to really have a reason to chase it if it's something I found on Google or ChatGPT or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I see a lot of clients doing that as a response to not being able to afford employees.
Wow.
Or thinking they can't afford employees.
Well, and it's interesting you bring that up because I have Dan's on, I forget which episode it is because we record these ahead. He's on in a couple weeks on just the where we're at with AI with regards to helping a practice.
Right.
And I think one of the fundamental things, not to give too much away, well, this isn't really, it's just a basic statement, but one of the fundamental issues, if you're using AI is a force multiplier. That's really all it is. It's like, if you want to lift a weight, you can wear a robot suit that helps you lift the weight better. That's what AI is, but they're trying to replace people with AI, and we're not there with receptionists. And you'll see there's a few companies doing it now, and they'll show their demo, and it's a person calls the office, and it sounds like a person, which is great. Because it is crazy what you can do with AI now, and we're in the early stages of it. But everybody's all stuck in this thing, but it's not going to replace a person. It'll be like, oh, you left your glasses here. Someone will call you back. Like that's not really, that doesn't save any time. It makes somebody feel like the phone was answered, but it doesn't really solve the problem. And I'm spending on a pay-per-click lead or a implant funnel lead or whatever. I'm spending hundreds of dollars. It just, AI does have uses on helping them to evaluate X-rays and
and if they do the after hours thing, maybe that's beneficial, right? But I'm talking about in the middle of the day when I call the practice. So to that end, they then skimp on having a front desk person there. They don't get more new patients. They make less money, and they don't hire a hygienist. I see a lot more clients coming with no hygiene.
Yeah.
You can talk to our power client managers. The guys coming with no hygienist now. I'm like, what? What do you mean you have no hygienist? How are you running a dental practice with no hygienist? Or they're doing their own hygiene, right? So now we're producing less. We sell less dentistry because we're like, okay, well, I've got to be the hygienist on Tuesdays.
Sure.
We shrink. I don't have the money for payroll. We shrink.
So it's like a vicious circle that just becomes
Which is this domino effect from payroll going up. And offices not thinking with it or thinking with it unintelligent, because I will say that people are outsourcing things which are intelligent to outsource. I think you've spoken about this also. A lot of our clients are outsourcing insurance now. Great. That works most of the time. It's a very intelligent move because you can take an employee who's been with you for a while, they understand dentistry, you could repurpose that employee to be your office manager, to be, a scheduler, to be one of these positions, make more money from them, outsource the insurance for less. So they're intelligent moves you can make too to, shift with the cost increase.
Yeah, one thing I should mention on that too, just as an aside, two things. One, we do work with a company that does that handles the whole insurance filing process. Sabri came on and talked about it a little while back, called Smog Care Claims. I'll put a link to it on the episode webpage. They're very cool. Second thing is I've been asked a lot about this, specifically with AI. I know I don't want to hijack your thing here, but well, can't you use AI to file insurance? And there are certain AI solutions that do help with, at least when it goes out. Here's my prediction. Because theoretically, we have the technology now to where you could have AI run the whole process on both the filer and the payer end. If insurance companies employed a decent AI, they can evaluate x-rays, they can look at narratives, you could have it filed correctly, the insurance company could review it, and you theoretically could be paid in 24 hours. That's why it will never happen.
Right.
You might get good stuff on the user end, like the client end might have something that evaluates the claim really well or helps with verif, but you're never going to have something that can do follow-up or whatever, because then the insurance company doesn't get to sit on the money or the float for a while.
Right, they're not going to play ball.
No, they get to sit on that money, or you keep filing the claim till you get frustrated and stop filing. So anyway, just as an aside, because I was thinking about this earlier today.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
And then I think the second question you asked was on the onboarding process.
Yeah, but like, so what's changed? The first thing you brought up is cost.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's on the hiring side. On the onboarding side, I think the biggest thing that I've seen change is there's so many new rules with what you can, how you are supposed to handle your employees, specifically with sick pay, break rules. A lot of states are requiring now that you have disability, that you cover a portion of, things like that. And the clients don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Like, again, and kind of to what you were saying when you did the intro, it's not the same environment. So the things that you were doing before, you were kind of like, okay, I can skate by. I know how to hire people. I can get, good people here. And maybe you're good at training them. That's a big area people fall down. But maybe you're good at training them and getting them on the job. The rules and the changes with that are not, you can't just hope you can figure it out. Or maybe you have an attorney friend who will give you a little bit of advice, or you can go to your Chamber of Commerce and read all of the tips and understand them. It's too changing, and employees are being made aware of these changes in the environment, and they are coming at employers. Not so much do we see it with our existing clients because we've given them this advice, but new clients coming in. They don't have a system set up. So we're telling them you have to have an HR company. Like it's become like you have an accountant and a CPA, you have an HR company.
This is interesting you bring this up, only because it's like compliance issues.
Right.
And obviously there are states where this is a lot rougher than others. California.
New
anyway, in New York. We're in Florida.
That's right.
So as an idea, and I've brought this up on stage, and you could probably correct me. Ashley's our HR person, so she's going to say I was wrong. But in theory, I could have an employee work 2 20-hour days in a week. As long as they don't work 41 hours in a week, I don't pay overtime.
Right.
And there are break rules or whatever, depending on what they're doing. Fine. But in California, as an example, I know, and again, I know California gives our in-house attorney nightmares because we have a California office. I know that they have, like, you can work a 5-day, 8-hour-a-day work week, or a 4-day, 10-hour-a-day work week. And again, this is not legal advice, but I know that theoretically, if someone works 9 hours in one of those 8-hour days, you're paying overtime.
Right, and there's break laws in there too.
Yeah.
And I'll say this because we've got a lot of listeners, and I notice people will tend to go, oh, well, he's talking about California. It is way more states now.
So it's okay.
Yeah, and we all hate on California a bit because they probably set the stage, but there are a lot of states following suit.
Got it.
More than people know now. And that's my point. Like, you might not know that your state has adopted some of these laws. If you don't have, like, we have an attorney. Of course we have an attorney. And my attorney sends me updates on all the states.
Yeah, I know. I get copies.
Right.
Yeah.
And I read them.
I don't read them all.
Yeah, I do.
I read
because
some.
we have clients.
Because I know you're here, so I don't read it all, and you'll tell me if it's important.
But if you're listening and you're not in California, and I would still... this point goes to you as well. Like, you need an HR company. And there are lots of them out there. People see a need and they make a company. So there are lots of them out there. Some of them are nationwide, and some of them are just local to that state. You can just look them up and, read reviews, get a referral. A lot of times I see your CPA will usually have a good referral for that if you want to find a localized one.
But let's talk about this HR company concept for a second, because I think there might be misunderstandings of what one is. Because obviously, if I'm an employer, I have an employment attorney. So if I have an issue like, oh my gosh, I may have a problem here, I'm supposed to call my employment attorney.
Right.
Most people don't have an employment attorney. They have an attorney who isn't an employment attorney. Maybe they have one in their firm. But an HR company usually has attorneys on staff, don't they?
Usually.
Okay.
Usually, and that's something that's worth checking when you sign up with them. They usually have attorneys on staff. But really their purpose is compliance. I want you to use them for compliance.
Okay, so they're going to help me make my manuals, make sure I have all my rules in place,
Right.
and oh, did you know
Right.
every X amount you have to give a person a break,
Right.
or hey, if you send somebody for a training course, you have to pay them for travel time if I'm supposed to. I'm not, look, again, this is the problem is this varies state to state to state to
Right.
state. So you got to have somebody who knows your state.
Right. So you use them for things that, and they can handle, usually they can handle minor things, minor firings, minor hiring, onboarding processes that you might not know you're supposed to have, rules with what you can ask somebody you're interviewing, when you can do background checks.
Right.
All of those things vary. And those are all tools that I advise you use. For example, on your hiring process, do background checks. Unfortunately, we've seen clients come through that have been embezzled from and later find out, oh yeah, the person has already done that before in a different office. They just never did a background check.
Wow.
But you have to know the laws of background checks. In California, you can't do a background check. Again, no legal advice here until you offer the person a job.
So I would have to say, okay, I'm going to hire you.
Right.
Pending a background check.
Yeah.
So assuming the background check comes back clean, I can hire them.
Right.
If it doesn't, then I can not hire them. Like they just robbed the last person they worked for, I can go, yeah, you know I'm not hiring
Right.
you. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
So having an HR company so you can implement the tools that you need to implement to more successfully hire and run a business, it's like I said, it's like having an accountant now.
Got it.
You have to have it. Because we're going to teach you here, and a lot of people are going to teach you, okay, great, do a background check and, ask these questions when you're hiring somebody, because you have to be a little bit more judicious about who you hire, because you have this amount of money and they're going to want $22 an hour when you would have hired that person for $15 an hour.
Right.
In the past. So you have to, just like you're intelligent when you pick your lab or your supplies, you have to be intelligent about how you spend your payroll dollars. But part of that is knowing what you can ask, what you can do, and then once they're hired, how you can train them effectively. You're not sending them home to do all their training at night and not paying them for that.
Right.
That's a big no-no.
Again, talk to your attorney.
Talk to your
Or your HR company.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which can I ask you a question about that? Because I know I get asked this. So 2 questions about an HR company. Number 1, do you have anybody you would refer anybody to?
A lot of our clients use Cedar, CEDR.
Okay, we'll
They're
put the link to it on the
nationwide.
episode. We are not affiliated
No.
with Cedar, but we've just had a lot of clients use them and
do
they're
have a lot.
satisfied.
Yeah.
Again, this is not an endorsement, but yeah, okay.
And then ADP also has a whole HR wing that they...
That's who we use, I think, through our payroll service, right?
Yeah.
We also have an employment attorney.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, but ADP as well. And both those are nationwide. Like I said, those are the ones I know of that our clients use. But a lot of our clients also use local ones.
Got it. And then here's the next question. And you may or may not know this, but how much do these cost? No clue?
No idea.
I mean, are they hundreds a month, thousands a month? Like, what is this
think
run?
I think Cedars depending on what package, they
Sure,
have
I'm sure
different
it's number
tiers,
of employees.
But I think you're low hundreds.
Okay.
Mid hundreds to low thousands, depending on the package, depending on the size of staff you have, depending on what you want from them. It's, but I think for a relatively reasonable cost, you can sign up with one of them. Significantly less than violating.
Yeah, than getting sued.
Than getting sued.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay, so then I guess, the number of features I add.
Yeah.
And then how many employees I have and what I want them to do.
Right, because
Okay.
they'll have like a template manual.
Sure.
Or you can have a totally customized manual.
Right.
They'll have, I think Cedar has where you can have like a 24-hour. I can call somebody on Sundays if I've got a major situation. And Cedar is one of the companies that has attorneys on staff. So you get a little bit more benefit from that, but it costs a little bit more.
Got it.
I can only speak to somebody, during these hours. Like
Right.
it definitely varies, like any company. But look, I've seen clients with lawsuits. Again, usually when they're newer clients and we haven't taught them the things they need to know.
And they don't know the break rules,
Right.
or they don't know
Right.
the...
And it's tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, I guess
that
that's
they
the thing
lose.
I'm seeing just in like various social media algorithms or feeds is you have what it appears to be attorneys trolling for this kind of business.
Right.
Like, are you getting the breaks you're supposed to get? Did you get your sick pay? Did you get your blah? And it's stuff that, because if you look at it in a normal society, if someone's violating something that you would think, like, if someone's parking in my parking space in a normal civil society, you start with like, hey, dude, can you stop parking in my parking space? Because how badly have I been damaged? I've had to park down the street once or something, right? In a normal society, the person would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was your parking space, and they'd move, right? Now it would be on TikTok, and we'd be fighting. No, anyway. But so what's happening now, it seems, as opposed to that, like, hey, I'm not getting my breaks, or they may or may not have, because I've seen stuff like this where it's just completely fabricated, but now it's almost like lawyers just like they'll troll for certain kind of businesses. Like, what was that one, mesothelioma for years? You remember that, the type of cancer? Now, I'm not saying it's wrong. If people got it, they should be able to sue. But just as an example, or you'll have the local liability car accident attorney. Like, here we got Morgan & Morgan's real big, right?
Right.
It seems like they're trolling for this kind of business now, for the stuff you wouldn't have even thought about before. Not real, like, oh, I was discriminated against or something severe or serious, but did you get your breaks?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that puts it in the employee's head, and then depending on the type of employee you have, they may come to you, hey, did you know you're supposed to give me these breaks? And some of them don't. They're like, they just go on not getting the breaks, since that's the example we're on, and then wait until they've built up enough that they can now file a complaint.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that is messed up.
You know.
Well, I mean, I guess then the solution would be, I would get my HR, we're okay, but I would go get an HR company and go, okay, what are the major points of compliance that potentially have the biggest liability?
Right.
Because, I mean, we all know about the obvious ones.
Right.
Like, we don't want people sexually harassing others in our business. We don't want discrimination. We don't want unfair labor practices, which obviously we would never endorse any of those. But if it's going to be where we're these nitpicky thingies, which we may not know about, it would be good to know to be able to cover ourselves.
Yeah. And on that point, though, I will tell you that, and a lot of the HR companies do this, and some of them don't, and you have to go to your employment attorney for this, but your managers and you need training on how to recognize what a sexual harassment claim is, what a discrimination claim is, because very often the employee doesn't just come and say, hi, I was discriminated against.
I see.
They say, Mary Sue made me uncomfortable with
I got it.
blah, blah, blah. And you actually, as the employer, are responsible for questioning and finding out more information. And your managers have to be trained on that. I work on that with my managers. Not that we have these things happen, but my managers know how to recognize it if we did.
But we're trained to be able to do it. But
Right.
and were these like video courses, in-person courses, or were they a combo?
I think a combo. I think that, some of them are one-on-ones, so they can ask questions and give examples. Some of them have video courses, but it's training that you have to add to your manager and your...
Whoever's handling personnel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what was it our employment attorney was telling me? They use clips from The Office
Right.
to show you what not to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually for real.
Exactly.
That's actually used in some of their courses. How not to handle personnel.
Right.
All right, so two biggest issues, pay and rule compliance, enforcement, things like that.
Right.
All right, so that brings me to the next question, which is, what are some of the specific changes we've made or that you've had clients make in light of these changes in personnel?
So, again, I'll break it down. Like, in light of the increased payroll, I know for us, we are, I'm a lot faster on the hiring line. We don't carry as many employees just in case we lose somebody.
Right.
I used to carry a lot of administrative assistants, and it was great. We would train them. They would move up the line. If I lost somebody, I could quickly stick somebody in that place. Now I just hire faster.
Right.
Meaning, so I have a better hiring person. She's really good at her job, and we lose somebody. We know we're going to be maybe a week, 2 without that role. We have to kind of pull up our bootstraps and cover and get somebody else in there.
So let's talk about our hiring process for a second, because I know the way we used to do this is we'd bring people in, and if we were serious about possibly investigating hiring, we'd bring them back for a second interview, do more stuff, things like that. And now I see that we don't really do second interviews.
It's all on the same day.
They're a lot faster, so
Yeah.
they come in, and the day they're there, I get the submission to hire the person.
Yeah.
It seems a lot faster than it was before. And that brings me to my next thing, which is, and I don't know if we experienced this. I don't know if clients are still experiencing this. I know a few years ago, especially after COVID and the labor market got weird, is we had people ghosting people for interviews.
Right.
So you'd have interviews set up or a group interview, and then people just wouldn't show, or you'd hire them and they just, oh no, I took another job. Did we run into any of that?
We did. I don't know if I ran into it as much as our clients did. You know,
Is that still happening?
I think it happens. I think we're back to kind of how it was pre-COVID.
Okay.
Because it always happened a percentage. Post-COVID, and in those first few years post-COVID, you had a lot of people filing unemployment and getting a lot of unemployment. Sure. And, you have to go out and show you're going to interviews in order to keep getting your unemployment check.
I see. Okay.
So there was a lot of that happening. I don't know that we did. Our clients definitely did.
Okay. So that's not as much of a thing.
No.
All right.
But we do hire faster.
Okay.
Right? We tell the clients this too. This is big. We've been telling them this for years now. You have to hire very quickly. So like you said, they come in now. If my hiring person likes them, she does our placement testing. I meet them, or one of the other executives meets them the same day. They leave. We run the background check. We have a company that goes very quickly on background checks. We do our reference checks. And we get an offer back out to them, ideally same day.
Got it.
So that.
That used to be a 2 to 3 day process. Yeah.
Yeah, but people are the good people. If they come through, you want to hire them fast.
Okay, so that's a major change.
Yeah.
Any other changes? I mean, I know from a business perspective, we're telling clients get out of plans because then you're able to keep your staff and pay them. But...
Right. I think the other thing that we adjusted significantly is we did have to adjust with payroll changes. We do pay higher pay rates now for starting employees. I mean, minimum wage itself has gone up significantly across the nation.
Well, and also just, maybe it's not official minimum wage, but I know like Chipotle's starting thing a few years ago was $15.
Exactly.
I think California, don't they have a rule where it's $20 for fast food or something?
Right.
Yeah.
So if I can get hired at McDonald's for $20 an hour, and I don't really have to work that hard, no offense to McDonald's, but I'm probably not going to go get a job where I have to really, make an effort.
Right.
To make $20 an hour.
Right.
Right? So then you're having to pay $22, $23 to be competitive with minimum wage, right?
I mean, it's not official minimum wage, but it's sort of like what the prevalent wages people are paying, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we adjusted with that. We offer higher starting pay, but like I said, we're more efficient with how many employees we're keeping, and we're faster with getting them trained. Like really working on when they first come in, like, okay, good, I want you to really learn the organization. They used to spend a day on onboarding. They can spend up to 3 days on onboarding now.
What are we doing differently?
Really making sure they understand the organization, more time on understanding how it works, how the different areas work together so that they can succeed on their job.
Got it. Right?
Getting them out of that, I don't know anything about you phase faster.
Yeah, because we need them to hit the ground running quicker.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll spend more time doing that so that they can succeed faster on their job.
And has that also shown up? So it's quicker on the hiring,
right?
Which is what we've told clients, obviously. Yeah. But is it quicker on the firing too?
For sure.
Well, I mean, not that you're trying to fire everybody, obviously, but like so. And I'm not saying that. What's the best way to ask this question? I mean, I guess the way I asked it initially is fine in the sense, not are we firing them for less reasons, but are we spending less chances, less time?
Correct, because I expect if you're going to come in and tell me, great, Ashley, I want $25 an hour, and I have 3 years of experience. I'm like, okay, maybe 25 is a bit of a high example. Maybe if you're coming and say you want $20 an hour.
Sure,
and
you have no experience.
Right, you have no experience, or you have 2 years of experience in an administrative position. I'm like, okay, I know we've got to spend that to potentially get a good employee. So we spend it, but then you need to show me that you're going to burn the midnight oil. You're going to really come in and try and succeed on the job.
We'll pay you for burning the midnight oil.
Yes,
though.
that's correct.
Of course, just very clear. Yeah.
And succeed and that you're worth what I'm going to pay you.
Got it.
Right? If they come in and they're just kind of lazy or I don't see that initiative and that desire to like grab it and get going. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to find someone else.
Because someone else, you could pay the same thing and they'll probably do a better job.
Right.
Because the pay is so high.
Right. And a lot of our clients right now, or a lot of people listening are probably going, no, Ashley, we can't find employees. It's hard to find employees right now. It's not hard to find employees.
Okay.
They're not, You know, what I find is our clients aren't running enough ads, they aren't interviewing fast enough, or they put up an ad and they call the resumes 3 days later. I'm like, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because these people are looking for
Right.
work.
People are looking for work. It's not true that people aren't looking for work and that they're hard to find.
But now, what's interesting, so obviously we adjusted our fees.
Yes.
Right, and obviously, I don't want to make the whole episode about what you pay people, but I guess it's a big thing now. We adjusted our fees and our prices to reflect the new reality.
Right.
Because we had 26% inflation. It's probably higher now, but it's starting from March 2020 through August of 25, it was 26%. And those are official numbers, which means they're probably wrong. Not to be a conspiracy theorist, but let's get real, okay? So probably a lot higher.
Right.
Okay, I know they are in areas that actually matter.
Right.
Like healthcare and telecom is not as high, but gas, food, yeah.
Right.
Okay, so you're paying more than you used to pay. So we had to adjust our prices, and this is where what used to be kind of a nice thing, like, hey, you should really get out of plans, is now you have to. You can't, if you can't control your prices, I can. And it's up to the consumer whether they want to pay those prices. But if you can't control your prices because 80% of your practice is in network, you're in trouble.
Right.
Because employees aren't going to go, oh, you're in network, good, I'll take a lower salary.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or your marketing company, or your
Nobody is.
Right.
Your landlord.
Right. They're
Yeah.
all like, okay, well, cost
Well, yeah,
what it
I'll
costs.
charge you 60% when you're working on a PPO pay. Nobody's going to do that. So, but what's interesting is, I don't know, I think it's just from my end, at least, when I see these submissions, can we hire so-and-so? Part of it is you're sort of a product of your time, So when I was a kid, being a millionaire was a big deal. Or I want to be a millionaire. I mean, now a millionaire isn't what a millionaire was in 1985. It's a total different thing, right? It's a decamillionaire.
Yeah, you got to
now.
be a decamillionaire.
Yeah, you're
to
not
be
a millionaire
right.
anymore. It's the same, because you're a millionaire now. It's like, okay, I think I can get by and pay my bills. I mean, I'm joking, but you get the idea. So I think part of it is sort of your own conditioning on what you're used to spending. And the other part of it is I do think it's not just that the wages have adjusted for inflation. I think we're still paying a little more.
For sure.
Yeah, because I remember what we used to pay admin assistants, and you're hiring them now. This is what I would have paid somebody experienced for another area of the organization. So
Right. And we're only 5 going into 6 years later.
Right.
It's
more than
rate.
26%
Right.
is the thing.
Right.
The $10 an hour or $12 an hour employee is not getting what would be 16. They're getting 20.
Right.
So, and this is always brought back to me. I don't know, this is an interview of you, but this is just an interesting thought I had. I don't know if it's interesting. I found it so. Is I've always had a kind of a funny thing, and you've seen me with this. We'll hire somebody for a job that pays whatever range. Let's say it pays between $50,000 and $75,000 a year, and they want 85. I'm like, okay, they check all the boxes, and it looks like it could work, and it's not that much more than the top end I wanted to pay, but the expectations on them are a lot higher.
Right.
It's like, figuratively, they have a gun to their head.
Right.
And not literally, but they have to really, they have to really produce, because every week that goes by where they're acting like the person I could have hired at the starting range is sort of like, this just isn't going to work for me.
Right. For sure. And I don't know how many employees we have listening, but I will say that this kind of goes to where you as an employee have to get yourself trained. You
Right.
have to know how to do a job in an organization. And what I've seen, how our clients are adjusting with this a lot, is we are training a lot more staff than we used to.
That's true.
So we have a program where we'll train your team.
Right.
And I also happen to be over MGE sales department.
Yeah.
And we signed up, I don't remember the percentage now, but a lot more clients on that program. It's called our all-inclusive program. And we'll train your whole team.
Right.
Your front desk, your dental assistants, will train the whole team. And I saw way more signups on that.
Yeah,
last
just to
year.
clarify, I'll clarify this and hold your thoughts, just so people go, what are you talking about? So obviously the main program is the power program. Trains the doctor and the office manager. When we have a power client, they're doing well, and they're like, okay, I want to build multiple offices, or I want an office doing 600, 800, $1 million a month. They're going to need a lot more trained staff.
Yes.
And we have something called our all-inclusive 3-year program, which they can train anybody as an executive, which is a lot cheaper in the long run than spending money for 10 office manager programs.
Right.
So that's what you're talking about. And we sold more of those last year than any other year.
Yes, but we sold more of those. Also, people are signing up for it sooner. Like you mentioned just now, our power clients, but we're seeing guys, they get on our main program and then they're signing up the next month, the month after, because they recognize as we start to train them, they recognize like, okay, well, I need to train my team because I just hired this lady at $20 an hour and I can see that she has a lot of potential, but she doesn't really know what she's doing.
Right.
So let's train her or him. Let's train that person and turn them into a great employee.
Interesting. Yeah,
right?
We're also seeing a lot more participation on the online platform,
Yes.
DDS Success.
For sure.
And I'll put links to these, the Power Program, DDS Success. I don't know that I have a link for the all-inclusive 3-year.
I don't think so.
No, because that's usually you have to be on the Power
Right.
Program to be a candidate for that. But if you're curious, you can always call us about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're seeing a lot more staff participation than in the past
Right.
because people are getting the idea that
Right. And just to your point of so I'm hiring somebody, they've got a bit of a gun to their head, but as the employer, since that's probably who I'm mostly talking to, you also have a gun to your head because
figuratively,
because
I
you
don't want to get
need
canceled
to.
with the YouTube algorithm or go, wait, so they said gun.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you also have
Everything's red now, Ashley.
You have a lot more pressure.
You have pressure. Thank
on
you.
you as an employer to make your team efficient, right? I mentioned this in one of the tips I did the other day. If you think that you're just going to hire somebody and they're perfect and they're going to come to you, the chances are so slim that that's going to happen because wherever they're working, they're probably going to stay there.
Right.
And the person who invested to train them and get them up and, be the superstar, they're going to keep them. They're going to pay them a little bit more to keep up with the changes so that they don't have to start over again.
Yeah.
Right? So my point kind of is you have to be willing to start at ground zero with an employee and build them quickly.
Right.
But the time you took 2 years to build an office manager in the past. He or she would do all the positions in your office. You got to build an office manager in 3 to 6 months now.
Wow.
And sometimes you're starting from zero.
Got it. So now with regards to clients, newer clients, and you may have already hit on this, are there any common staffing or personnel problems that you're seeing that we have not covered that are common, especially with newer clients?
I think the understaffing is the biggest thing. I think I kind of hit on it, but I really see they're understaffed.
So they need 5 and they have 4.
Yeah, or they need 5 and they have 2. They're understaffed, and they're understaffing, and they are trying to come up with solutions to stay that way. Right, like I said, they're outsourcing their front desk, or they're doing their own hygiene, or they're doing procedures without assistance.
Right.
They think the adjustment they needed to make was to not have as many staff, when the adjustment they need to make is make more money. Get more patients, help more people, which brings more income to their practice.
Right.
Right?
Get out of plans.
Yeah, out of plans. Those are the correct adjustments. The incorrect adjustments are what I see them doing, the new clients.
Got it. Okay, good. And then, again, you may have hit on this one because we've kind of riffed on a few things. What are the biggest mistakes that you see that, especially with newer clients, like the owners, the office managers, with regards to personnel?
I think trying to cope.
Okay.
Trying to cope with the wrong employees. Like you said, there are employees that shouldn't be there and you have to let them go. But they'll get into that mindset of okay, well, maybe I hired this person for less than what the normal going rate is. Lucky me. But there's probably a reason for that, and it's not the right employee, but they end up coping with it because they don't want to spend the money for a more expensive employee, or they don't want to start over again. So they'll make the job smaller. Okay, well, you can't handle this and this, so I'll do that. I'll work harder. Office manager will work 60, 70 hours, and this person will work their 40 hours, but for less work product in the end. So they cope, or they cope by not having employees, like I just said.
So not hiring or keeping somebody that probably should go.
Right. I think those are the
biggies?
Those are the ones.
Cool. Hey, it's okay if you talked about the other one extensively.
Right.
All right, now I'm gonna wrap up with this. If you people listening right now, hopefully you're listening, you're there. Owners and office managers could take one thing from this conversation today. What would that be?
Probably that personnel is no longer a line item that they can sort of cope with and get by. Good. So I've told you get an HR company. I've told you pay more money for your employees. like they're probably at the end of this episode like, wow, I don't want to do any of that. um, but it's not really something they can ignore anymore. It's not really something that they can do what they did for so many years. Maybe they've been in practice 25 years and they're like, well, I always did it this way and I've been fine. I'm going to, cope by or get by. You really can't ignore it anymore, whether it's because you don't want to have a lawsuit and you've ignored the changing compliance laws, or you won't grow your practice because you are keeping this skeleton crew when
Right.
you really need to have 10 employees. And so then your practice doesn't grow, which then your staff don't grow personally, financially, because you can't have bonus games, you can't, these sorts of things.
Right.
You don't grow.
Your profit goes down.
Your profit goes down, then you end up, I don't know, selling, closing,
Right.
It's
depressing.
It's depressing.
So now, just as a point of clarification, too, this is important, paying more.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm in that situation. I've lost one of my front desk people, and I have to hire a new one. And I have people asking for a lot more than I was paying in the past. How do I know if it's too much, too little? Like, what reference point should I use
I
to
like
know what's
salary.com.
Okay.
I use them.
Have they caught up?
Glassdoor. So, yeah, that's
Okay.
that. They
Because they
have.
hadn't caught up with raising wages
They
for a while.
have and they haven't. So what I do is I do kind of a sweeping search. So I'll use salaries.com. Then I'll go to Indeed and I'll also check Glassdoor.
Indeed and Glassdoor,
Yes.
the smart ones, because that's what other people are offering.
Right.
I think.
You can see what people are posting. Like you should just look,
Mm-hmm.
go look, because salaries.com will say, oh, you can hire somebody for $20 an hour, and you go look in your area and everyone's offering 22.
So Indeed would be a good place to go, like for dental front desk.
Right.
I see everybody in my area is offering 23. That's where I need to live.
Right.
Got it.
And this is one of the places, Jeff, that you can use AI
Mm-hmm.
that benefits you. Ask chat, because a sweeping search, like this is my area, this is, what I'm offering. Tell me in this year and month, you got to give it really good direction. What are people paying? And then you don't have to search all the websites yourself.
Got it.
And you're using the AI tools to benefit you.
Right, because that could get, like, if you just told me we're going to have to pay more money, I could go, like, well, I don't want to pay more money.
Yeah.
Or that just see, because then somebody comes in and asks me for 28 and the going rate's 23, I'd want to pay 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that it kind of goes without saying, but I guess it's a good point you're making. Don't just take my word like, oh, Ashley says I have to pay more, so I'm just going to pay more. No, this is again to my point. You can't just ignore personnel in that area anymore. You have to spend some time on it.
So you have to get good at it.
Yeah, like you need to go look. Like, okay, well, MG says pay more. I guess we're paying more. Well, that's going to cost you money. You might be mad at me and call it.
Sure. I mean, go look
Go
if you should
look.
be. Maybe you're
Right.
paying well.
Or your HR company might offer that service. What are people paying in my area? What's decent? You know what I mean? Like, you have to just spend the time now where in the past, you could kind of get by with not as much effort.
Well, and I guess if I were to look at it, the lesson I would take from this if I was listening, right, would be, especially listening to what you're saying, is in the past, personnel was just one other thing you did in a dental practice. It was the people helping you deliver to patients. And you didn't worry about all the complex stuff, but now you kind of have to.
Right.
You got to be good at this.
Right.
Otherwise, it can come back to bite you.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to be an HR expert, but it's good to have an HR company, really understand this area, have some basic hiring rules and policy in place so that you actually cover yourself and you stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like anything else. It's like marketing.
Right.
You could not know about marketing or know about marketing. Well, now you got to know about personnel.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much
Awesome.
for being on
Thanks
today.
for
This is
having me.
awesome. And if you guys have any questions, I have the links to the Power Program and to that company. What was it called again? Cedar. And DDS Success. We have that on the episode webpage. Otherwise, folks, I hope this helps. If you want to know more about MGE, you can find us online at mgeonline.com or call us at 800-640-1140. Folks, have a great week, and we'll see you at the next episode.